pretty telling.
Yeah. Hey. Howdy. Pretty good, man. How you doing? Yeah. Got a sign-in sheet there at the back, if you would. You know what? You might be able. It's what is it? Looks like it's about 7 or 8 pages altogether.
And it's not full pages, it's very big type.
Yeah. You know.
He tried to post it to Facebook yesterday.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, I put up Thursday on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in contact's got it. You know the thing where it says what's on your phone?
Yeah.
I posted it in there, and I don't think it went in.
All right, folks. I saved everybody a chair. Let's make sure you'd have a place to sit. Appreciate everybody coming. As always, we're going to start off with a prayer, and my pastor and our co-coordinator, Dr. Glenn Cope's going to do our prayer. So, Glenn, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for all the blessings that you pour out upon us. Father, may we always realize that you are the giver and the sustainer of all the good things that we have. Father, we want to pray especially for our country as we are going into this election. We pray that our leaders will seek to do your will, that they will follow your will. And Father, as we look to who we should vote for, may we always look for those who love you and want to do your will. Pray that in your Son's name. Amen.
Those prayers, it's a small field of one, I think. I'm probably the only guy in the world that editorializes after a prayer. Thank you, Glenn. Okay, pledge. Jim, would you lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Hey, how you doing, man? It's long time no see. Hey, how's work? Go ahead and sign in at the back table there. First off, I want to give everybody a little bit of a heads up. I just got out of the hospital last 2 days ago, Thursday. Well, I was 3 nights at the hospital in Oklahoma City, Integris Baptist, and then 9 days, whatever it was, and at what they call a skilled nursing facility, which is kind of like hospital light. Anyway, so I'm moving a little bit slower. So if I get a little tongue-tied or something, bear with me. Our guest, Josh, called. He's on his way. He called, gave me a heads up an hour ago. He was going to be about 15 minutes late. So, of course, you know how much I hate being the center of attention. So I get to be the center of attention for about 15 minutes. I've got some stuff that I was planning on talking about, and then I got to think what we need to talk about is this attempted murder of President Trump. Folks, this whole thing, this FBI investigation and Christopher Reil, that's a joke. That's the guy who gave the orders to the people who raided Mar-a-Lago they could use lethal force. And I watched more TV while I was in the hospital because this happened a couple of days after my surgery. So I had plenty of time to watch. I don't even have a TV. But I got really upset with Fox News because every time Christopher Reil something, they report it like it's gospel. And it's crazy.
But at least they're reporting.
Well, yeah. It's not so much how they cover stuff, it's what they don't cover. There's a lot of stories out there that they don't get into. This the FBI heading this investigation it reminds me a lot of the Warren Commission. Everybody remember that after JFK got shot? One of the members of it was Allen Dulles. Allen Dulles had been the head of the CIA. He was the first civilian head of the CIA, and he's still the longest serving director of the CIA. JFK fired him after the Bay of Pigs fiasco, which was about 2 years before they murdered JFK. He hated Kennedy, and he gets put on the Warren Commission. Gerald Ford was on the Warren Commission, and that set him up to be our first and still only appointed U.S. president. Alan Specter, senator from Pennsylvania. Anybody remember him? Yeah, he was one of the lead counsels. He wasn't on the commission, but he was one of the employees. So many people on that commission got paid off down the road. And I don't know about you, but that whole thing was a joke. They ignored testimony from people whose testimony contradicted their preconceived ideas. And the FBI doing this, and we know how Christopher Wray feels about Trump, and he knows if Trump gets in, Trump will do everything he can to fire him. So,
Is that why they're not releasing the information?
I think so, probably. Well, we've had 3 presidents when they were running say they were going to open the files, including Trump, and they never have. And folks, don't get me wrong, I have some issues with Donald Trump, but he is our only hope to save our republic, especially considering who's run against him now. Hasn't the media done a quick flip on her? So, but I want everybody to remember when you're saying your prayers, please include Donald J. Trump in your prayers, because they will try again. If they can kill him, that solves 90% of their problems on the left. Because who else are we going to rally around? There's nobody else. And I supported Trump before he announced. I was hoping he would announce when he did. I've been a Trump supporter since day one, even though I have issues with him, because he's not part of the swamp. And he's run successful businesses. I have so many people say, boy, I really like him, but I wish he would just shut up with his tweets or calm him down. That's what I like the most about him. Somebody walk up and slap him in the face, he's going to hit him upside the head with a 2x4. And I like that. So, yeah.
That's the unfortunate.
Yeah.
All the wusses.
Yeah. Char had printed something up off of the internet, and I had known this. Yeah. God, I can't even think of her name. Kamala, Camel Toe Harris. Yeah. There's been a bunch of posts of J.D. Vance and I've joined the Marines. What have you ever done? And somebody said she's not going to do anything. And I posted on Facebook. Yeah, she won't do nothing. She will swallow. So that's how she got her start in politics. She was mistress on her knees for Willie Brown. Does anybody, who in here remembers Willie Brown? Ah, okay, well-informed crowd. I think he was mayor of San Francisco, and then he was the Speaker of the House. He was a major political power in California for decades, and that's how she got started.
Heavily embedded in the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, her parents were both communists, and she was raised as a communist.
In
And
Canada.
they show her picture and say she's the first black lady. Excuse me? She don't look very black to me. And how does it make her African American? Her father was from India and her mother was from Jamaica. And I wouldn't be surprised if she probably grew up drinking that great Blue Mountain coffee from Jamaica and smoking lots of that killer weed that comes out of Jamaica.
You're making me crazy.
Yeah, I like that. I've never heard that. My main issue with Trump is he came out in favor of red flag laws. And I'm sure most of you have seen the clip. He's sitting at a table with a bunch of people, and he said, this is almost a direct quote, "I believe in seizing the guns and then having due process." So I'm not crazy about that, but again, politics ain't about getting the perfect candidate. It's about getting the one that's the least destructive. And so
We're not gonna have a second chance.
no. I got a text. I was in the hospital bed. It was the day after my surgery, and I get a text. They shot Trump, and I immediately thought it was a kill shot. Because there's been most of these presidential assassinations, when they shoot him, it's a kill shot. You know, has everybody heard the story about Teddy Roosevelt when he got they had an assassination attempt on him? They shot him in the chest, and he had 50 pages of his speech folded up in his pocket and a cigarette case on top of it, or cigar case. And it stopped the bullet. It slowed the bullet down enough. He got up and gave his 50 pages of speech, and he was bleeding. And that was within about 100 miles of where they tried to kill Trump on Saturday.
Trump's going back there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Last night he announced he's going back.
Good. That's good. I hope they have a little better security.
Yeah.
Well, I only saw this picture once. They had an FBI agent. He had an FBI jacket on, big letters on the back. He's up on that roof hosing down the crime scene. I mean, you don't hose down the crime scene until you've completed your investigation. And the FBI isn't the one that cleans up the crime scenes. FBI agents, yeah, Mike.
They did the same thing with JFK. They cleaned the limo when he got to the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Plus other stuff. But
Yeah,
they was cleaning the limo right after he got shot.
They cleaned it out at the hospital as well as they could, and then it got shipped immediately back to Lincoln, and they completely rebuilt the thing. And hey, there he is. Decided not to stop taking a nap? You've had a long day, haven't you, buddy?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So you know what? You're a minute early. You said 12:15. It's
Right.
12:14.
Thanks for coming.
Okay. Well, I didn't even have to get to my my backup.
Rules of engagement for the shot. Had he been recited, but they didn't fire.
Did
Did they have to have permission to fire?
I think
Well,
they said shoot
there-
him first, or let them shoot him first and then shoot him.
There was one. I don't know if it's true, but there was a post on Facebook. Guy's last name was Willis, and he said he was the sniper on the tripod behind Trump. And this statement, he said he had the sniper in his sights for 3 minutes, and he kept trying to get permission from the big shots, and they wouldn't give him permission. Now, rules of engagement, what I heard, now again, I'm just going by what I've heard. The Secret Service, their counter sniper teams can fire without authorization, and they don't have to wait until the sniper shoots. And that doesn't apply to a lot of police departments. And I love the CIA, or the Secret Service is trying to pass the blame on this thing off to that little small. They've got 21 officers. It's the size of
And they're
Blackwell,
mostly
6,000
traffic.
people.
Yeah,
And
they're traffic officers.
yeah, and they had a third of their police force there. I mean, this whole thing was a total fiasco. But like I said, the parallels between this and Dallas in 1963 are amazing. So everybody keep tuned, but I use what I hear on the media as a negative barometer. If I hear it, in fact, Rush Limbaugh years ago said he'd either seen something on CBS or read it in the New York Times, and he said, and I thought to myself, my God, what if that's true? And that's kind of how I approach the media. All right, I'm not going to have feelings as long as I thought. I carry this with me all the time just in case.
Just in case.
Well, it's our printed out of all of the bills. I could do an hour and a half on this easily. Folks, this is Josh Reil. Josh is the man here in Oklahoma for U.S. Law Shield. Oh, and by the way, I want to welcome anybody that's online watching. And if you have questions for Josh, if you will text them to me on my phone, 580-670-0357. That's 580-670-0357. Yes.
I just want to say real quick, give me the most comprehensive
John
Collins?
Trump Associated,
Collins, John Collins.
Cullen, yeah.
Cullen.
Collins.
Collins.
Collins, not Collins.
Yeah, no S on the end.
Cullen.
Okay, I'll check that out. In fact, oh, there you go. Thank you. You're reading my mind over there. And again, I want to introduce just a couple of people, then I'll get to you. The gentleman who said our prayers is Dr. Glenn Cope. He's my pastor, as I said. He's also our co-coordinator, and he's covered for me more than once when I couldn't get to a meeting. John, stand up for a minute. This is John Keck, everybody. He's our coordinator down in Lawton. Yeah. And he and his charming wife, Kathy, have been so nice. Twice when I've been down there, they put me up at their house as their guest, so I didn't have to drive to Lawton and back to Tonkawa in the same day. And they're good folks, and his wife is a profound biblical scholar. I just love talking with her because she is very knowledgeable. I want to appreciate you driving up, and he brought me a present. It's a pen. Yeah, look at this, folks. 50 caliber shell,
Oh, wow.
and you twist it, and you got a pen. That's going to look super
Yeah.
cool sitting on my desk.
I got one of those finally.
Did you?
Yeah.
Ah,
They kept running out of stock.
all
We just
right.
appreciate everything you do
Well,
for OK2A throughout the state.
well,
Absolutely.
bless your heart. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
He's
very
the
much.
second highest paid employee of OK2A.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I've been blessed, folks. I found a whole new career when I was 72, and I'm almost 77 now. I've been doing it almost 5 years. And it's great when you're an old man to have a mission in life. It really makes a difference. And I'm just so blessed to be involved. I've met so many great people, hundreds of great people. I put out a call for prayers online, and I bet I may have had a couple of thousand people praying for me around the state, and it worked. I had major abdominal surgery, and I have had no pain, none. I've had some discomfort. I stopped taking the laudanum the day after the surgery at the hospital, and I haven't taken the Tylenol for at least a week, and I just can't believe it. Major surgery, and
Praise the Lord.
yeah, exactly. So I want to thank everybody for their prayers. They worked, and man, it's nice. It's not only nice having a mission in your old age, but it's nice, knowing you got the Lord in your corner. Thank you. Josh, I'll turn it over to you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, I apologize for my tardiness. That's a long drive from Lawton to here. Yeah, probably. So I just pulled off 12 hours with News 9, got off at 6 o'clock this morning, went straight down to Lawton, did a class down there, and then came up here. So I'm running a little tired. But I was asked to come talk to you guys. It's been a while since I've been able to cover some things with you, and Law Shield has changed a lot just in the last several months. If you guys know who we are, what we do, Law Shield is the self-defense, legal defense for self-defense. You get into a situation, you have to defend yourself and protect yourself in any way, shape, or form. Law Shield is going to be there to help you out. We're going to make sure that all your attorney's fees are covered. We're going to make sure you have the best defense possible no matter what your situation is. And we're going to make sure that you're not getting railroaded, okay? We're going to make sure that you're taken care of. I've been working with them for August to be 9 years. We've been partners with OK2A just about as long. Our partnership, we work together, making sure the bills are written the way they need to be written, and we're making sure that you guys have the best packages or best benefits being with OK2A. So a couple of things that we cover and discuss. One of the biggest topics that we like to go over is, I have just pulled the trigger, now what? Okay, somebody has just broken into my house. I've had to defend myself. I've had to pull that trigger, now what? Okay, so 2 terms you need to know, and 2 terms you guys have probably heard: castle doctrine and stand your ground. You guys have heard those terms, right? Okay, so the difference between the two: stand your ground, you have to meet force with the same amount of force that's being presented to you. You don't have to retreat. You don't have to run away. but you have to use this reasonable force that's being presented to you. So a little old lady comes up and hits you with the cane, you can't just blow her away, right? You have to use the same amount of force that's being coming toward you. Now, castle doctrine's a whole different ballgame, okay? Inside your home, place of business, place of worship, and vehicle, you have presumption. If somebody is there, enters your home and is not supposed to be there, crosses that threshold, you have presumption. They are there to do you harm, you can instantly take action, okay? You don't have to holler out to them, you don't have to warn them, you can immediately do what you have to stop that threat. Okay, I have a wife and 4 kids in my house. If somebody comes into my house that's not supposed to be there, I'm not going to ask questions. Okay, I'm going to drop him where he stands. Now, let's walk through that. 2 o'clock in the morning, you hear somebody breaking in, you get up, you grab your weapon, you turn the corner, you are now face to face with this intruder. You've got him dead to rights. You've got your gun trained on this man. Under the Oklahoma Castle Doctrine, your first move should be what? Pull that trigger, right? Well, I can't tell you to kill anybody. You can shoot until that threat is stopped, okay? Until that threat is no longer a threat, right? Any force necessary to stop that threat, okay? So here's the thing. If you are a good enough shot with a massive adrenaline dump to be able to aim your shot and pinpoint where on his body you're going to shoot, more power to you. Okay, but most of us aren't trained like that, right? Most of us don't take the training or do the training that we need to do. If you do, fantastic. Okay, but what's going to happen is you're going to have every endorphin just dump at the same time, right? You're going to be pulling that trigger. Chances are you're probably going to empty your magazine just out of pure reaction. Okay, and I don't care what everybody's heard. Well, you can't shoot too many times or it's going to be excessive. No, what they're talking about excessive force is you can't put 5 rounds into him, he falls, then you stand over and put 5 more, right? That's execution. That's what they're talking about, okay? You can't chase him outside your door and pop off rounds, right? Okay, so.
If you're gonna point, it has to be a shoot.
Not necessarily, not anymore.
Okay.
I forget what year, I think it was 2020, we passed a law to where it's the point, don't shoot law, basically. It used to be where if you pulled your weapon and you didn't fire, you could be charged. Now, if there is a reason for you to pull your gun, you're not going to be charged for it. Okay.
What if you're chasing them out, and they get in their car and you shoot the tires out?
You can't shoot them. The minute they exit your house, you need to back off. That's it. It's over.
The
Okay.
castle doctrine is out of effect at that point.
Correct, because as soon as you cross that threshold, now you're going from castle doctrine to stand your ground, and now you're the aggressor. Okay, if you're chasing after him, you are now the aggressor. All right. So, and here's one of the biggest things then why we were trying to pass that Private Property Protection Act. Okay, you go out there and see somebody stealing your car, you can run to the end of your chain and bark. That's all you can do. Okay, if you try to get involved and it escalates and gets violent, now it's on you. It's not right. It shouldn't be that way, you know. But we got the Senate that likes to hold things up, right? And unfortunately, we've tried to push that through 3 years straight, and it's been shot down every year. Okay, we need to get that passed. That was supposed to make it to where your castle doctrine goes to the end of your property, and that way you could defend your property. But as it stands right now, if they run out the house, you need to back off. Okay, so now I've got somebody dead or dying on my floor. What's my next step?
I'll watch you.
Not yet. Not yet. So my next step, and this is where we want to change and make sure you think in the way you need to. Your next step needs to be, is there anybody else? That is step 1. Is there any other threat? Is there anybody else that I need to deal with? Okay. Here's a statistic for you. Since 2020, the number of groups, 3 or more, that are breaking into homes has skyrocketed by over 90%. And if you know statistics, that's insane. Okay? What does that tell me? That means people are getting stupid. People are getting desperate. Okay? So chances of somebody else being in your house, very, very high. That is step 1. Step 2, think about this. I have just discharged a firearm multiple times inside my home. Is there anybody still sleeping right now? Right? Okay. So I've got a wife and 4 kids. They've just heard me unleash a barrage of bullets. What do you think they're doing? They're freaking out.
Yeah.
Right? So as I'm going through and I'm clearing the house, I'm gathering all my family up. I'm gonna get everybody into one single room. Now I'm probably gonna have to go wake up my 17-year-old, but I'm getting everybody into one room. Okay, I'm gonna get everybody into one room away from the scene. First of all, they don't need to see that. Second of all, how much easier is that for me? I have just reduced my area from the entire house to one entry, one exit, and everybody I care about is behind me. Okay? I don't have to worry about stray bullets. I don't have to worry about anybody getting taken hostage. I don't have to worry about somebody getting, having them getting barricaded into the rooms. Everybody I care about's right here. Okay? So I've cleared the house. I've dealt with one threat. I've got my family with me. There's one last step I need to take prior to calling 911. What anybody think what that could be? What do I do with my gun right now? Do I want to have it in my hand at the ready? Do I want to have it in my hand when the police arrive? No. Okay, so what do I do with it? Well, I need to set this down. But when I set this down, I am not going to unload it. I am not going to unchamber it. I'm going to leave it just as it is. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I want to make it safe?
Tampering with evidence.
Your house now is a crime scene. That gun is evidence. Okay, I'm going to give a statement later to my attorney, right? I want that statement and my gun to match. Even if that meant that I empty that magazine and put another one in there, I want everything right there. Okay? If I only fired 5 rounds, I want that gun to show I fired 5 rounds, right? Okay? On top of that, do you really want to have to mess with trying to load that gun back up if another threat arrived? Right? I don't want to make it safe. I'm going to leave it within reach so I can grab it and use it, but I'm not going to touch it. Okay? Now, I told you I've been doing this for almost 9 years. You can think I've been asked probably the most crazy questions over the years, right? Some pretty off-the-wall questions. Believe it or not, one of the most common questions I get, am I supposed to wipe my fingerprints off the gun? What does that tell me? People are watching way too much TV, okay? And they're not taking it seriously, right? Don't give them any reason to investigate you any further than they're already going to. All right. So now, I've cleared the home. I've dealt with the one threat. I've got my family with me. I've got the gun out of my hand. Now I need to call 911. Now I want to get help on the way. And I get people all the time, no, you're waiting too long. You're waiting too long to call 911. No, you're not. This is happening in about the span of 3 to 5 minutes. It's going to happen very quickly. Okay? Now it's going to seem like eternity. It's going to seem like time is just frozen. But it's going to happen very fast. Okay? Now here's probably one of the most important things I can discuss with you. You get on that phone with that operator, what do you say?
I've been a victim.
I'm a victim. Here's
So here's the thing. There's 4 statements you need to give. 4 statements. So what are the first thing they're going to do? What's the first thing the operator's going to do?
your name.
Immediately start asking questions, right? Because they need information. They need to know what's going on. That's their job. Their job is to gather as much intel as possible so that, number 1, they know what to send in. Number 2, they know where to send it. And number 3, what exactly is going to be needed. Okay? And so whether it's the officers or paramedics or whatever the case may be, they know what they're going into. That's their job, is to collect as much information as possible. What's the downside to that? Okay? It's all being recorded, right?
Be used against you.
It can absolutely be used against you. Every endorphin has just dumped. How do you sound right now?
You're on speed.
Right, like you're anxious, you're excited, right? You're off the wall, you're not thinking straight. Can the DA make it sound like you just had the biggest thrill of your life?
Yeah.
Okay, so 4 quick statements. Number 1, identify who you are. That's a given. You need to tell them who you are. 2 kind of has 2 parts: exact location and where are you inside the home, because you want them to come to you. Exact location, where are you inside the home? Okay, you don't run out to them. Okay, and don't let them rely on the GPS. They're going to be kicking down your neighbor's door. Exact location, where are you inside the home? 3, I have been the victim of a violent crime. 4, I need police and I need an ambulance. And then you're going to do something you've been told your entire life not to do. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. If they try to call back, don't answer. There's no law that says that I have to stay on the line. There's no law that says that I have to answer all their questions. Okay? What are you doing? You're protecting yourself. You have got the biggest adrenaline rush dumped into you right now. human nature is going to want to talk. You're gonna want to tell somebody what happened. You're gonna want to start spewing all kinds of information, whether it's relevant or not. Okay? The more you talk, the more trouble you can get yourself into, right? 4 statements, get off the phone, don't say anything else. Now, when the police arrive, I'm gonna step away from the gun. Officer, I'll answer any questions, and I'll give you whatever statement is needed as soon as I have been cleared by a physician and I have spoken to my attorney. What did I just declare right there? Number 1, I need medical help. Number 2, I want to talk to my attorney. The minute you say attorney, they're supposed to stop. No more questions. Okay? Now, you're required to identify who you are, but that's it. Everybody's heard the Miranda rights, right? You have the right to remain silent. Well, here's the problem with that. You can't just stay quiet. You have to say at least that you want to talk to your attorney. After that, say nothing. Once you've declared that, that's it. Okay? Don't fall for the tricks. Their job is to get as much information as possible. Okay? They can lie to you. Their job is to get as much as they can from you. So, but nothing you tell them up front can help you.
Pretend they're Democratic.
Whatever you have to do to get your attorney to you, and then let him handle it. That's why I also say get medical help. Because if you go into the hospital, where aren't you going? Okay? Get to the hospital, get your attorney to you, and then let him handle it from there. Everybody get the gist of what I'm saying. If you're a Law Shield member, right after that 911 call is when you're going to call Law Shield.
What complaint do you tell the hospital,
So you have,
or what are you being seen for?
right, so you have doctor-patient privileges, right? But here's the thing, they don't need to know details, okay? You have no idea who's around you, you don't know what's going on, you don't know if there's a deputy or a cop outside. So all the doctor needs to know is I have been involved in a very traumatic event, and I've had a massive adrenaline rush. I want to make sure that everything's okay. Because as you're coming down off that adrenaline, if you don't know, adrenaline is the most potent, powerful drug out there, okay? It can take the most physically fit man and give him a heart attack, okay? So as you're coming down off of that, you want to make sure that you can immediately be treated if need be. But it's not going to happen fast. Anybody know how long it takes for adrenaline to get out of your system? 72 hours. 72 hours. That's the same length of time that any officer involved in a shooting has to give a statement. The civilians have the exact same right. You have 72 hours. But here's the thing, if you don't have that attorney, you're not going to get it. Okay? Law Shield members, if you're a Law Shield member, raise your hand. Oh, wow, that's awesome. If you're not, there's been some changes, and I know you've probably heard us talking and the prices and everything like that, but the prices have changed. Freaking Bidenomics has caught up to us. We've had to make some changes, but I think they're not bad. So, 3 different tiers you can choose from now. First one covers you just at home. Now, it does cover the entire household, but it just covers you at the house, and it's $24.95. The second tier, this is the one that I push. It covers you in all 50 states, includes bond, includes Hunter Shield, it includes gun owner identity theft, which is if a lost or stolen gun, will deal with anything that pertains to that. I said all 50 states. So yeah, 50 states, bail bonds, and gun owner identity theft, as well as the main program, all attorney's fees, court costs, everything like that. That one's $34.95. That's the one that I push most. $34.95, but think about this. What's the retainer? If you had to hire an attorney on your own.
15 to 25.
Easily. Okay? So $34.95, and there's no caps, there's no limits, no deductibles, nothing. Okay? There is one tier that's above that, and that's the reason that I actually had to go get my insurance license. $54.95, and we'll give you everything that the $34.95 tier does, plus gives you $1 million of liability coverage for any civil action. Okay? Now, we're really good at what we do. I can tell you that since 2009, I used to be able to say we haven't lost a single case, but that has changed since then because somebody took a plea deal against our better judgment or against our recommendation. We couldn't do anything about that. but we do the best we can. Our ace in the hole is our attorney out of Oklahoma City, who is Robert Robles. He works hand in hand with Don Spencer with OK2A. He helped write some of these laws that are in place. So he is the guy when it comes to use of force. Now, the benefits of being OK2A, thanks to OK2A, anybody that signs up, if you're not already a member, you get the first month at no cost. Because we want you to research it. Don't take my word on it. You do the research on your own. If you decide before the 30 days is up, cancel it. No questions asked. It waives the first setup fee and the first month. Okay. Any other questions for me? Go ahead.
What did you say that cost was?
We got $24.95 is the initial. That covers you just at your house, but it does cover the whole household, just at your house, nowhere else. $34.95 a month, which covers you everywhere, all 50 states. Includes bail bonds up to $100,000, gun owner identity theft, and hunter shield. And then the last one is $54.95, and everything that the other one covers plus $1 million of liability.
Is that per individual?
Per individual, you can add a spouse at $20.
That's why I was gonna say mine is more than that, because I think mine is like $69 or $70.
If you're doing it per person, or if you're doing it for two individuals, you're gonna pay like the 34 plus 20 is the spouse, so about $54 a month is what you should be at if you're at the 34 tier.
I think I get the highest one.
Did you? Okay, so then yeah, right around 74, give or take.
Yeah, I have a question. When you said if you've had an incident and you call the police, and you call WashU and you tell the police, I'm waiting to speak to my attorney, how long does it take for a Law Shield attorney to get to you?
We used to have a guarantee, but we've had to reduce the number of attorneys that we use. So usually one of our attorneys is going to be to you within 2 hours.
Okay.
So whether it's at the police station, whether it's at the hospital, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. This is by no means a get out of jail free. And if anybody says that it is or can guarantee that, they're lying. Okay? They can't control the system, and the logistics of it are just impossible. Okay? I cannot guarantee that we're going to keep you out of jail. Okay? I can tell you that we won't stop until you are. We will continue to fight. Even if you're found guilty, we cover all mistrials, retrials, and appeals. We will not stop until you're taken care of. So usually within 2 hours, whether it's at the hospital, whether it's at the police station, they'll get to you. In an emergency situation, that's what will happen. Now, if you've called us the day after something, all this stuff went down, then we'll take all the information and we'll work it as needed. But if it's an urgent, I need you right here, right now, they'll get to you as soon as they can.
If you're an existing member, do these prices go to you?
If you're an existing member and you stay current, your price will never change.
So in other words, existing members are grandfathered in, but you want to make sure
You stay
do
current.
not let your membership expire for 1 hour, because then you go back into the hopper as a new customer, correct?
30 days.
Oh, you got 30-day grace?
period. You
I'm
got a 30-day
surprised.
grace period.
Well, that's very generous of
Okay.
US Law Shield.
So you got a 30-day grace period, and as long as you keep yours active and we call it the legacy members, people that were there with us from the beginning, your cost will never change.
Fantastic.
Okay?
It's a good deal.
I'd just like you to clarify one thing.
Sure.
Okay, the guy leaves your house. Back it off. But if he turns around and comes at you.
Then he's
outside your
re-engaging.
house, yeah.
It stands your ground. You can still be forced with the same amount of force, right? So, and I get people all the time, well, if he's got a gun, the gun changes it, right? He's got a weapon. You can use lethal force to protect yourself against the weapon, right? I'm not saying that you have to let him walk all over you. I'm saying you have to use your head and use the proper amount of force based on where you're at. Inside your house, do what you have to. Once you leave the confines of your house, though, the laws change. The
Like
rules
everywhere else
change.
you're at.
Also, it's real hard to claim self-defense if you shoot him in the back.
Right.
That really has an effect on.
So
You
the
talk about-
only scenario that I can come up with that I can see that you'd be justified in shooting somebody in the back is if I spooked this guy and he took off running down my hallway, I'm still gonna shoot him. Why? Because am I gonna allow him to barricade himself in one of my kids' rooms? No. Or take one of my kids hostage? I can testify why I did what I did. That's probably one of the only times I could ever be justified shooting somebody in the back.
Well, would also the castle doctrine come into effect? I live alone. If I had to shoot somebody in the back in my house,
You're still probably under the castle doctrine, but you're gonna have a harder time defending it, right? Well, he was running away from you, what were you doing? Okay.
yeah,
Me, I could say he was going towards one of my kids,
yeah,
right? I had to do what I had to do.
makes sense.
What about, I guess, I'm an old smart mom. If you're out of your home, you're in your car, you piss somebody off, and they come after you. Do they have to enter your car? What are the rules of engagement?
So when it comes to the vehicle, the castle doctrine for your vehicle, they have to break the plane. Break a window, open the door, they have to be able to get access to you. You can't just shoot through the window if he approaches the vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if he's managed to break a window, get access to you in some way, that's when you can use.
Okay, so your
force
window's
necessary.
open, if he reaches in.
If he reaches in and crosses that plane, now you got a reason to fight.
Engage in some way.
But if you're the one that's running your mouth though and calling to get riled up, you're gonna have a harder time defending that.
Okay.
So just be careful.
Okay. What about on the street? If a group comes up to you and gets nasty and stuff, what's your situation?
If it's multiple individuals that's conversing on me, I'm gonna get the hell out of there. It's hard, even with the group, even if I had a weapon, it's gonna be harder for me to defend myself the way I needed to. Now, I can claim self-defense if they're coming at me all at once, but you're still gonna wind up with injuries. You're not gonna be able to pop them off all at the same time, right?
Okay, it's a single person. If they touch, what has to be rules if they touch you or attack you?
There's 100 different what ifs that you can throw in there, right? I can't give you an exact on every type of scenario, but I can tell you that you are authorized to use lethal force if you feel like either one, your life is in danger, immediate danger, or you're in fear of grievous bodily harm. Okay? Do I need to have a gun on me to hurt you? Do I have to have a gun to hurt you? Do I have to have a weapon to hurt you? No. Okay. You have to use your judgment based on what you are. It's the reasonable person standard. Would a reasonable person react the way you did in the same circumstances?
Okay. Is a knife covered as well?
Oh, yeah.
You've got a knife.
Yeah.
Attack, so it's.
Law shield will cover you in all legal weapons.
Okay.
Bare hands, gun, I don't care. As long as it's legal, we'll cover you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Us old, decrepit, crippled up old men. The level of violence against us that would be considered deadly force in the system is a much lower standard than it would be. Somebody attack you.
Somebody attacks Terry, he could jump to lethal force a whole lot faster than I could.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
If the same person, same scenario was to attack me, it would be longer before I could go to deadly force than say Terry could. Okay? If I sneeze too hard, Terry's gonna get hurt. So
At least there is some advantage to being old and decrepit.
So it's based on, it's based on your personal scenario, it's based on your personal circumstance. I can't give you the how-to on every single scenario. Train. That's what I can tell you. The more training you take, the better you're gonna be in any given circumstance that you have. Okay? If all you can do is browse the internet and watch YouTube videos, that's not gonna help you much. All right, get out there, get active, and actually train. Put hands-on training. Yes, sir.
What about these stun guns that they say that will stop a person?
I use a taser.
Pardon me?
I said I use a taser. If you need to use it, I'd recommend you take classes so you know how to use it and know what it feels like.
Yeah.
No thanks.
I've been tased 5 times. It's not fun, but it lets you respect what you've got so that you're not trigger happy with it. Anything else? Yes, sir.
If you're with U.S. law students, if you're in a self-defense shooting, when you call U.S. law, you'll call the number, Who are you talking to?
You're talking to the actual attorney.
You're talking
So it's
to
not
the
a call
attorney.
center, it's not somebody 3 states away. You're calling the actual attorney. I used to prove it until he asked me to stop.
Okay.
He gets a slight adrenaline rush every time that particular phone rings. But it's not somebody that's just gonna take your information and get back to you. It's not somebody that's saying, well, go find your own attorney. The attorney that's gonna help you is the one that answers the phone.
Even 2 in the morning.
Doesn't matter, 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay, go
Well, I
ahead.
guess I was gonna ask, if Mr. Robles is not available, there will always be somebody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Answer that number.
Yes, absolutely. And to be honest with you, so that hotline will go straight to the attorney, whether it's him, whether it's Zach Simmons, James Meyer, Carl Douglas. We've got several that are on call that will answer that phone. I've had people call me. They didn't have their number, but they were able to get to mine. I will help if you need me to. Okay, I will get to the attorney. I'll call the attorney. Whatever the case may be, you will get help one way or the other. Okay, I've answered the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning to help somebody if need be. Okay, we are going to make sure that you get the help you need when you need it.
Who's your nearest attorney to Kay County, you know?
Robles.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. Oklahoma City.
he's the man.
Yeah. Carl Douglas and James Meyer is up towards the Tulsa area, and then Zach Simmons is more on the southern regions. Coach?
The great advantage of that is your attorney-client privilege starts immediately.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, starts immediately. So no matter what the situation, you're under attorney-client privilege, and he's your attorney, so that starts right then and there.
I, a couple times a year, go out of state, go up through Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota,
Okay?
or over to Colorado.
Okay.
And I know those last two are
Sketchy.
concerned. Yeah, are,
Minnesota doesn't recognize us at all, and Colorado does, but with limits.
okay. But if I'm there and something happens, and I call Law Shield, what happens?
Well, as long as you got the multi-state, we've got you covered. So it's based off the GPS system. So it's gonna get local attorney, it's not gonna call Oklahoma, it'll call the local one to where you're at. And they'll help you, they'll do whatever you need to do. It's the same instance as if you were to call when you're here. It's just, no matter where you're at, we got you covered.
Okay.
Now, you need to know the laws before you go in there.
Well, that's, last year I called before I headed out, and
Were they
they
able
were
to give you
very
a
good.
cheat?
I
Good.
called general information, and they said, well, our attorney in Kansas will call you, in Iowa. And each one did, they called me back, except for one, called me back within a couple hours,
Good.
3 hours, and gave me info. The problem there, or that I had, was I didn't understand all the protections that the attorneys were saying that you could or couldn't. I mean, there's so many obscure definitions,
Right.
Especially Minnesota and Colorado.
That's why they're the attorneys and I'm not.
Right.
So that's why they're the attorneys and I'm not.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of legalese, right?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, ignorance is no excuse, right? So,
Right.
just because you didn't understand the law didn't mean that, right? So, what I would recommend is do your due diligence prior to. Okay, one of the biggest things that people get caught up with on Colorado is they have ammunition restrictions, like the number of, so you can't have a magazine that can hold more than 10
Okay.
in Colorado. Okay, and people are thinking, well, I'll just load 10 in my magazine that can hold 12 or hold 16. No, that magazine is illegal. Okay?
Unless it was made before a certain.
Unless it was made way back when. But yeah, so you need to know those prior to going in there,
Okay.
right? Law Shield now has a system that you can jump online, fill out your profile, and plug in your trip if you're getting ready to take a trip, and it'll go in depth on each
Oh,
on
okay.
what you
Where
need.
do you go online?
USLawShield.com.
Do what,
USLawShield.com.
And then is there a drop
There's a
down?
login profile. You'll set up your profile. You'll set up everything. If you haven't done it yet, you can set everything up. You use your member number, and you can, once you logged in, you can make all the changes you need to your stuff. Then you can set up what we call an after action plan. So in the case of this happening, who can we call if need be, whatever the case may be. So
But can you get information before you leave?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can jump onto US Law Shield, set out your trip, put in where you're going to, and then it'll give you all the information.
Yeah, but I mean, is that on the website? Does it say trip planner or something?
Yeah, it actually, I don't know the exact name of it, but there is something that,
Okay.
it's got a map that you can click on and you can set everything.
Yeah, I understand those. Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
I got a question from
Jerry, go
online.
for it. Yes.
And I've actually had a few other people ask.
Okay.
So, AOR?
Attorneys on retainer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, the person said they're looking at US Law Shield and AOR, and they'd like for you to give the advantages you've got.
To be
over
honest with you, I don't know much about AOR.
them. Okay.
I haven't been able to dive into them much. I'm starting to hear their name more and more. From what I have taken, and I can't confirm this, but from what I'm hearing from different people, is they are they're making some promises that they can't fulfill, but I can't guarantee. I can't give you examples or anything like that. But that's just what I'm being told. I don't know much about them. They're fairly new to the game. The only thing that I can say when it comes to us, we've got our record, we've got our reputation, we've got over 700,000 members nationwide. We're in 48 states. There are 2 states that say that
How
we promote
many
gun
cases
violence.
have you handled,
Just since 2009 here in Oklahoma, well over 800.
and how many have you won?
All but one.
All but one, okay.
All but one.
Oh,
That was just
Somebody took a
recent.
plea deal.
Somebody took a plea deal against our recommendation.
What are the 2 states that claim you're promoting?
Yes.
New York and California?
Yes.
California, no,
No.
Minnesota.
We're in California,
New
Oh,
York,
really?
New York,
Florida.
and New Jersey.
No,
New Jersey. Wow, okay.
When I did all my motorcycle traveling, I had a Glock Model 30 in a baggie under the seat on the motorcycle. And I was the most legally observant driver in New York. I was on the New York State Thruway all the way across the state. Everybody was passing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I knew I didn't
You're
want to
following
get.
every single law you could possibly
Yeah,
follow.
I knew I didn't want to get stopped, and it could be, I'd been up there for 25 to life, I think is what they do.
Man.
Right. Yes, sir.
We're gonna play something. Taser.
Yep.
Or
Mhm.
pepper spray.
It's your preference, whatever you're comfortable with. Both are effective.
Try to give you more.
Both are effective. Now, I can tell you that a taser, if you don't get both prongs, it's gonna be difficult. I'm not talking stun gun. To me, a stun gun is worthless. I can hold one of those against my arm all day. An actual taser where you're doing a 2-prong taser, and they have civilian models out there. The one that I like is called the Pulse Plus. It's made for civilians. Okay. If you're not trained with it, you're not proficient with it, and you miss the prongs, you're not going to get the effect, right? Whereas OC spray, you can hit it. Once you get it on their face, it's there. Okay. Now some people can eat the OC spray like it's salsa, but that's few and far between. Oh yeah, I've had multiple situations where we had OC'd somebody and it didn't faze them in the least.
There's no problem, something else,
Probably. But it's based on preference and training, whatever you prefer. I don't like to give recommendations because the recommendations I would give is based off of what I'm comfortable with. I don't know what your abilities are, I don't know what your training is, stuff like that, so.
Haven't there been cases where somebody got hit with both prongs of the taser and they were still dangerous?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
heard about that.
Because the ride, I call it the ride. You're only gonna be down, law enforcement is 5 to 6 seconds, in between hits. The civilian will hold for 30 seconds. If you hold somebody for 30 seconds, they're gonna be out of it for a minute. It takes a lot out of you. It packs a punch. But if you don't get both connections good, it's useless. You're not gonna get it. Right. If it doesn't hit the skin and get a good lock, you're not gonna get anything out of it. Anything else? All right, guys, I appreciate your time very much. I've still got to drive back and I need to go to bed. If you are
Safe to drive home.
Oh, yeah, good. If you are not a member and you would like to become a member, I can fix that before I go. All you do is scan the QR code I got, fill out the information, put the promo code OK2A in, and then you're good to go. If not, I thank you guys very much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate you.
for
Be safe. Thank you for.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Call me if you need me.
I will, drive careful.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for the word about, thanks for grandfathering us in.
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, let's see here. Couple of things I wanted to mention. If you need surgery, call me. This guy, he did robotic surgery, and as I said, I've had no pain and just some discomfort. This guy is amazing. His name is Dr. Arcos. Now, when I went in to consult with him, I got rid of all my OK2A gear because I didn't. If I had a liberal surgeon, I didn't want him cutting on me knowing I was. So I had all of that stuff gone, no cap or anything. And he comes in wearing one of those head ties like the bikers wear, red, white, and blue, stars and stripes. So when we finished up, I pointed his hair tie and I said, "Are you a patriot?" And he answered me just like this: "Hell yes, I was raised in Texas." So I ended up visiting with him a little bit. He lived in Illinois for a while, and he said, "I had to get the hell out of there. I was a major felon with all the high cap magazines." So this guy's not only a magician with this robotic surgery, but he's a cool guy. So also, John and I'm going to buy John lunch. We're going to go down to Danny's Barbecue. So if anybody wants to join us down there, the nice thing about that is you can slide as many tables together as you need to accommodate everybody. Does everybody know where Danny's Barbecue is?
Yesterday or day before we were there, a gentleman pulled up in his one-ton dually and parked it in the Tractor Supply
Yeah.
parking lot. Apparently forgot to put it in gear, and all of a sudden we're inside Danny's and hear this horrible crash. The truck had rolled down the parking lot and into the side of the building and caved inside the building.
Oh my God.
So you might call first.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for the heads up. Oh, that's rough.
I felt so sorry for him.
Yeah. You know, I heard
Yeah.
he bought that from Head Country. I think he was one of their employees. And what I was told is after Head Country sold him the old business, he owned that land next to it where Rib Crib is now. And so after he sold it to his employee, he sold the land right next door to Rib Crib, and they come in and open a big barbecue place. Yeah.
That's how it happened. I always wondered.
You heard the same thing? Yeah, I just had heard that.
I'm not very.
Well, I guess I'll call and find out where we're going, John.
I mean, that doesn't,
No.
they were still open, but I don't know what they did after we left to secure the building.
Yeah, I'll give him a call before we head out. Has anybody got any questions or comments?
Yeah, Terry, just
Yes.
one quick one.
Yeah.
As we move towards the election, are you getting any political people set up? I'm assuming you are, but have you talked with anybody or heads up of yours who might be here?
To speak?
Yeah, to speak on a Saturday or
No, I
Tuesday.
haven't set anything up yet.
Okay.
With the election in June, and then I not only had this surgery, but I was pretty much consumed for about 2 weeks beforehand. I had one 8-day period from Thursday of one week till Thursday of the next week. I had 6 round trips from Tonkawa to Oklahoma City to see 6 different doctors. So my time beforehand was pretty well tied up with all this
No, I
medical
was
stuff.
curious if you had.
Yeah, no, I'll be getting to. Plus, a lot of these guys take a couple of weeks off after an election. Of course, we've got some runoff elections coming up August. I think it's August 12th. So, yeah, well, I'll have speakers here. And just
Okay.
I've been slacking off here lately, but I had. Oh, well, they had their meeting last night, and I guess they spoke. Did anybody go to the Kay County? You did? Was there anything of interest?
About the convention or anything?
Mainly the inside about how every moment and every movement was controlled.
I was there.
And if they thought
Oh,
you were,
okay, Chuck, is it?
thought you were a troublemaker, they kind of put you in the back and wouldn't let you ask questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a controlled environment.
Oh, yeah.
And Oklahoma was one of the troublemaker states.
oh, yeah,
We were the only state that, that couldn't, didn't want to swap out, with the alternates, credentials and all that. Nathan Dahm kept it just ruled with an iron fist.
Yeah.
All the other, all the stuff he was telling us, the Trump campaign says we can't do this, Trump campaign. All the other states, they never heard nothing about that.
Yeah, well, we've got
And we were getting, the establishment people got all these little perks that we didn't know about. They get, at the breakfast, we get these speakers, and then right before the speaker, if you got the text message, you get to go to this little private room and talk with them and all that. And, it was.
we've got a real schism in the Oklahoma Republican Party. And it seems like we spend more time fighting each other than we do fighting the enemy. Drives me crazy, but it is what it is. I was asked by both factions to come as a delegate, but I had this medical stuff. Plus, let me tell you something. I am not the least bit interested in spending $6,000 or $7,000 to go to a dog and pony show.
It wasn't worth it.
Yeah. How much did it cost you, Chuck? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't remember. My wife finally did that.
Yeah.
It wasn't near as much as they said.
Oh.
But still, the thing is, the committees do all the work. You don't do nothing at the convention.
Yeah.
It's all pre-orchestrated. In fact, I know people that were back in 2012 that tried to go on the floor and speak, and they cut the mics, they got everybody chanting Trump, 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 and all this stuff, to shut them up. But you don't do nothing there. It's just, you're just a show. Now, this year, even the committees didn't do any real business. They told them, here's what you're gonna pass, or else.
Really?
Yeah. So we need to really take over the party to the point where, if we get our state party good, and other states do, then maybe we can fix that, but it's a long ways from that.
But Chuck, do you think that's realistic? I don't know. This has been going on so
I think
long.
if we get enough of the right people.
Well, I see it happening in our state and in a couple others.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the country, I don't know.
Well, some of the Washington counties had more success than a lot of the other counties.
Well, overall, we pretty much got everything we wanted at the state convention, except for that ultimate slate.
Well, I think those of you who've been around for a while know I've got the perfect solution to this. It would fix everything in a matter of 90 days. You just need to make me dictator. I just need absolute power. Maybe 2 years would cover it. So I'm still waiting for that phone call, though. Okay. Anybody else? Sue, good to see you again. How you doing? Well,
Any of those bills that you were talking about, we need to know about?
Well, no, what that is, I carry this with me all the time in case, at every meeting, in case the speaker doesn't show up. I printed off the list from our OK2A.org website of all of our legislative achievements. It's about 5 pages of them. So if a speaker doesn't show up or has car trouble or something, I can do a meeting and easily cover an hour, hour and a half, because there's stuff on there that even a lot of our old-time members don't really understand everything that we've gotten done over the last 12 years. 160 plus pro-2A, pro-liberty, and pro-freedom bills that we've gotten passed and signed into law in Oklahoma in the last 12 years. And God knows how many bad laws we were able to kill in that same period of time. We don't have a list of those, but I wouldn't be surprised if those are in certainly in the hundreds range and possibly in the thousands range. Because every year there's I think this year is down from the previous year, but there's still 2,500 or 3,000 bills introduced when the session starts. But well, they have voted Lonnie Paxton. Yeah, he's been voted. He's the front runner. They don't actually vote and pick a pro tem until they come back in session after the November election. But they do a vote beforehand to McCorley. McCorley and Bullard were running. We backed Bullard. McCorley won, and he had been Treat, the previous pro tem's number 2 guy for several years. And then in the election, he got booted out thanks to OK2A. Him and Jessica, what's her last name? Garvin, Jessica Garvin. Those were our 2 major successes in the Senate this year. They were both Republicans, but they're the, the kind of, the wussy Republicans, they'll call them. They both got voted out, and we were instrumental in getting them voted out. Now, they've had another election, and they picked Lonnie Paxton, who hates OK2A and hates Don Spencer. So I've been told by sources down there that he won't even let Don Spencer come to his office. So we'll see, but it's they still haven't officially voted, so he's just the designee. We'll know more when they come back in session. Yeah, Chuck?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I helped with that Wingard campaign.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of us grassroots people went down there and were knocking doors and all that. And I went to his, they held a little debate thing. And it was, somebody was helping out, sending all these flyers to all these people. And what's his name, McCourtney?
McCorley, I think.
McCourtney, yeah, he was blaming Wingard, saying Wingard was doing all this. Wingard really didn't even know who was doing any of it. Was that OK2A?
Well, to be honest, I don't know for sure. I know we were real active. We donated the money you give OK2A as opposed to most.
A lot of signs were
Yeah.
supplied.
We donated over $25,000 this last election cycle to the right candidates. And so what I tell people that are trying to decide if they want to join OK2A, the money that you give OK2A, be it by membership or buying shirts or whatever. Oh, and I forgot to wear I was going to wear it then. I forgot about it. Anybody in here ordered that? I'm voting for the felon shirts. You get them? You haven't? Well, they should be there any day now. If you don't, give me a holler. Damn, I couldn't believe I didn't wear one. Our last shirt was our logo, and it said, "I'm voting for the felon." And I've got another one designed, like I said, it's going to be out probably this Friday.
Okay.
So that'll be all over Facebook. Any of our merch.
I've worn it in public, the one that I have, and you cannot believe the people that come up and say, "I love your shirt."
Yeah. But any money that comes to OK2A out of your pocket, the money you give to OK2A, either through merchandise purchasing or membership, gets stuff done. A lot of these groups, they take the money and they go have big conventions at Shangri-La outside Tulsa, eat $100 dinners on your nickel. We don't do that. We've only got one person that gets paid, and that's Don Spencer. Everybody else is a volunteer. And Don didn't get paid till about 2 years ago, and he gets $500 a week. And that's probably about a tenth or a fifth of what the other lobbyists down at the state capitol get. He works hard down there when they're in session. So spread the word. As always, there's some of my cards on the back table. If you've got any friends you think might be interested, grab some of my cards. It says on my card that my phone number is 24/7. I was even working while I designed a new shirt while I was laying in the hospital. I had plenty of free time between taking pills and getting needles stuck in me. So any other questions or comments? Thanks for coming, folks. I appreciate it. Please spread the word, and when you see my flyers on Facebook, please hit share instead of like, or along with like. I appreciate it. Take care, buddy. All right. I saw him.